guys, so long time no see. I haven't made a video in quite some time. As you guys can see by the title, I am pregnant. I am basically going to be doing an update video on this. I'm going to tell you guys how I found out and everything like that. Just kind of describing my symptoms and everything. It's basically my first pregnancy update video. I'm going to start uploading these regularly. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them weekly or if I'm going to do them every couple of weeks. I probably, to be realistic, I probably won't do them every week. It'll probably be every 2 weeks or so, just to kind of span it out, because 1 week to the next, sometimes like not much happens. So let's just get started into this. So I'm gonna just, I guess, start from the beginning. First of all, too, really quickly, disclaimer, I'm sorry about the angle. It's a little weird. I don't know where my tripod is. I think my sister has it, but I'm not really sure. So I'm working with what I've got right now. So I found out I was pregnant when I was 3 weeks pregnant, which is super early. Most people don't find out that early. I hadn't even missed my period yet, and I found out. And really what happened is that I just wasn't feeling well. My symptoms started really early. Like, I know that sounds weird, but like my symptoms really started early, and I don't know why that is. At first, like, I was freaked out at first that maybe twins, but that's not the case. But at 3 weeks pregnant, I was getting nauseous, and I remember I was sitting in the car one day and I was with Matt, and I felt so sick. Like, I felt like I was going to throw up, and I was like, I don't feel good. And that happened the first time, and he just looked at me, he was like, yeah, he was like, you're pregnant. And I was like, I don't think I'm pregnant. And that night we ended up going to go get a test. And the next morning I waited, because like it's a thing where you're supposed to wait for your first morning urine just to make sure, because that's when, like, you know, you're dehydrated a little bit, so it's just like the hormones will show up easier on the test. So the next morning I got up and I was really nervous. I didn't even let him know that I was going to take the test. We actually had plans to go get a boat that day with his dad. We were going to be driving for a couple of hours most of that day to go get the boat. So I took it early that morning, and the line was clear as day. It was so weird, and it was so different, because with my sister and both of her pregnancies, I remember she was sending me pictures and was like, is there a line? I can't tell. It's super faint. And I'm like, yeah, I think it is, but I can't really tell. Her lines were always super faint. And I can't really remember how early she found out, but I just know that her lines were super faint. And for being 3 weeks, sometimes like it says sometimes like you're not going to find out that early. You can even take a pregnancy test, still be pregnant, and not know. Like, usually pregnancy tests are meant to be taken after your missed period. But I did get like a first response pregnancy test that is supposed to show 5 to 7 days before your missed period if you're pregnant. And at this point, I think I was like 4 days before my missed period. So the line was so dark. I'm gonna insert a clip in a minute so you guys can see the line. I forgot to bring them here. They're at Matt's house, both of them. So I took one that morning and one the morning after. I didn't take them both like back to back. I know a lot of people do that. I just took one that morning and one the morning after, although the first morning I was pretty sure that I was pregnant because the line was so dark, and it was crazy. The line was just super dark, and I just don't remember being like that with my sister. So this is the pregnancy test that I got. It is just the first pregnancy or first response pregnancy test. It says you can tell 6 days sooner. So it's an early pregnancy result test, which is what I got because I knew I hadn't missed my period yet. And it did come with 2 tests. So these are the only 2 that I took. But as you guys can see, both of them, let's see if it will focus. Both of them were taken. Is it going to focus on them? I don't know. Both of them were taken, maybe if I put it up against the wall, it would focus better. I don't know if it's not focusing because, there we go. But both of them were taken one day after the other. So basically 2 lines means pregnant. And this line on the left is already there when you get the pregnancy test, and this line on the right is what shows up. So as you guys can see, that's super dark line. This camera is being horrible at focusing right now. Anyways, that's a super dark line on the right, and that is usually not what I feel like most people would get at 3 weeks, but that's what I got, and it is on both of the tests. So you guys can see how dark that second line is. Yeah, this is what I got as my result for both pregnancy tests. So yeah. So from that point on, that was, like I said, around week 3. I was about to be week 4 that next Wednesday. My turnaround day is on every Wednesday. So I think the first couple of weeks, so like week 3 to week like 5 to 6, my symptoms were kind of mild. I would get nauseous every, I would say like once a day for less than 5 minutes. So my nausea started off kind of mild, but it was there pretty early. I was so tired. That is like the biggest symptom I think I had, was fatigue. I have never been more tired in my life. Like, it was to the point where I could not stay awake. I would wake up in the morning, take a nap after I had breakfast. I wouldn't wake up. I would sleep for hours, and then I woke up again, did maybe 1 or 2 things, and then went right back to bed to go to sleep at like 8 o'clock at night. I was so tired, and that lasted for a couple of weeks. I was just always exhausted. I had to take a nap. I felt like I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was so tired. I have never been that tired in my life. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I've heard of the fatigue thing and being tired, but I didn't know how real it was until it happened, and how tired I was just insane. So I was super exhausted. So that was like the biggest symptom I had. That lasted pretty much throughout my whole first trimester. I think it kind of started fading away around week 10 to 11. And by the way, right now I am 14 weeks. So yeah. So at around week 10 or 11 is when my, I guess, first trimester symptoms did start to fade. From week 6 to about 9, I was so, oh my gosh, the all-day nausea is a real thing. I was lucky enough not to ever physically like throw up, but there were a couple times when I was in the shower. I actually, the first trimester, I had to stop taking like stand-up showers. I had to take baths that were cold, because when I would take a hot shower and I was standing up, felt so fatigued and so tired, and then like heat makes like nausea worse. So I would like literally I would start feeling sick in the middle of the shower, and then when I got out, there was like a couple times when I actually thought I was going to throw up because of how nauseous I felt. And that happened maybe 2 or 3 times, but there was some days where I was just in bed. And also another symptom of pregnancy was my crying. My emotions were everywhere. I cried every day, probably for the first 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It was insane. I just cried every day, but there were days when I felt so horrible, and the nausea was so bad, and it was like I couldn't get any bit of relief from like the second I woke up to the second I was trying to go to bed, where I just felt so sick all day long. I would just sit there and cry, and I'm like, this is so horrible. It was not very fun, I'm not even gonna lie. Like I said, week about 6 to week 9 is when my nausea was really bad. I was in bed, honestly, for probably 2 to 3 weeks just straight without really doing anything. I didn't go out. If we wanted something for dinner and we didn't have it there, Matt went out and got it. He made dinner. He made anything that I could eat. I mean, he did everything. I didn't do anything. I felt so horrible, and it also made me really emotional. I feel like people don't talk about this, but it made me feel really bad about myself, because I felt like I wasn't doing what I needed to do. Like, I felt already I was like, I'm weak and I'm about to become a mom. Like, I can't do this, like, in the sense of like, I can't like be like this. I can't be so, you know, I can't let this sickness be so bad to where I can't do anything. But I literally felt like I couldn't do anything. But mentally it was really hard for me because I was like, this is so hard and I feel so bad and I can't do anything around the house. I can't clean, I can't cook, I can't go to the grocery store, like I can't do anything. And like, that's one thing about me is I'm like, I love doing stuff like that. I am such like, I don't want to say like a housewife, like I don't like the way that sounds, but like I just like doing things like that. Naturally, that's how I am. I like to cook at dinner every single night. I like to like wake up in the morning and like make breakfast for everyone. That's just who I am. Like, I don't, you know, I like to clean. I like to do all that stuff. So it's just, it's really frustrating when you're in the situation where you feel like you can't do that. And mentally it was just really hard for me. And I ended up going on a lot of forums where a lot of moms felt the same, and people were like, you know, you're being too hard on yourself, and you know, the first trimester is really hard for a lot of women. It'll pass, but don't feel bad about yourself. You know, like a lot of women go through this and it is hard, but once it's over, you'll feel so much better. So it was really difficult at first. Like I said, mentally I was having a really big issue because I just felt so like useless and like helpless, and I hated it. So yeah, that was one thing I did suffer with a lot. I was really upset and I would cry and mad about it all the time because I just felt so bad that he was doing everything and that I couldn't do anything. So that was probably one of like mentally the hardest things I had to deal with in the first trimester. But luckily after like those first 3 weeks of nausea, I did feel better. Now what I did for my nausea is I got the Mama C-bands. I remember the first day I really felt sick, it was a Sunday, and Matt was about to go help his brother move some stuff, and I told him, I was like, at this point, I will do anything for this nausea to go away. I was like, can you please go out and get me those nausea Mama C-band bracelets? So this is what they look like. They're super tiny, like this. What it is basically is it's a band that you put on, and this little white piece right here on the inside has a little ball on the inside, and it puts pressure on your like pressure points right here, and it's supposed to relieve nausea. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if these worked because I wouldn't take them off because I was too afraid to take them off, because I was afraid that they were working, and that's why I didn't throw up. And I was too afraid to take them off because I was afraid that I was going to learn very quickly that how well they were working. I did take them off a couple times. Like the couple times, I will say this, the couple times I did get in the shower and I took these off, the second I put these on when I felt like I was going to throw up and I felt super nauseous, 2 minutes later, it went away. So I will say that. I actually do think they worked. I do think they helped. Teach their own. If it's not your thing, that's fine. They are not super expensive. How much were they? Matt, how much were these? 15?
15 plus tax, so like 16, 17 bucks?
Yeah, so like they're around like $17. They're under $20, so it's not too bad. I think that if you're going through some pregnancy, like nausea or like morning sickness, it's at least worth a shot to try them. I did like them. I probably would use them again just because I do think they're nice. They're washable. Yeah, they're good. I did read some reviews online where people got itchy or they were hurting. It would cut off your blood pressure. I literally didn't take them off. I slept in them. I stayed in them all day long. I never felt any of that, but everyone's different. So yeah, I really like those. The other things is, of course, this has to try ginger. I did ginger ale for a little bit. I tried not to do too much of that because of all, like, you know, it's soda and it's sugary, and I haven't had soda in like over a year. I stopped drinking it a year ago because it made me feel so sick one night. So I tried not to do too much of that. And then what else did I do for nausea? I had the pop drops, like the Prego pop drops. I don't really know if those work because, to be honest, I was using them at the very beginning, like at 3 and 4 weeks when I get pregnant every once in a while. I don't know if the Prego pop drops were what was making me like feel better, or if it was just because it was so early on, my nausea wasn't really lasting that long anyway, so it would only come in like 10-minute spurts. And when I got to the point where I was actually nauseous all day long, I stopped using them because I started to be able to taste the essential oils, and just the thought of it made me even more nauseous. So I don't really know how those work because I didn't really get to use them. I think I used 2 of them, and I bought 2 big packs like right when I found out I was pregnant. So I've got a ton of those left. So besides symptoms for like week, at the very beginning, as far as like the, you know, the big symptoms everyone talks about, the fatigue, the nausea, and everything like that, that was pretty much that. At around week 10, it kind of eased up a little bit. It was still there, but not too much. To be honest, I'll still get nauseous a little bit every once in a while. Not every day, definitely. So my nausea definitely did get better. And now it just every once in a while I'll get a little bit nauseous, but now I'm also able to eat. So that was another thing. During the first trimester, the weeks I was nauseous, I didn't really want to eat anything. When I first found out I was pregnant, my cravings, I really wanted anything in ranch. So any salads in ranch, I wanted like a chicken wrap with ranch on it. I wanted everything with a ton of ranch on it. That was like what I wanted. And then as I was nauseous, like during my like really bad spurts of nausea during 6 to 9 weeks, I wanted tomato sandwiches all the time. So I was pretty much living off of tomato sandwiches for a while because I couldn't really eat anything else. So that was, yeah, that was kind of that. So as far as like food aversions and food cravings since then, and how my appetite's been since like my nausea has gone away, the food aversions, I have felt food aversions, but not in the way that it's described, like I feel like everyone else describes it. Everything that I've read, everything that I've heard, a lot of people say certain things really gross them out. For me, it hasn't necessarily been that. I've read that some women will just be cooking in the kitchen and they'll be so grossed out they can't even cook anymore, or they won't be able to eat it once it's finally made or whatever, or they'll see certain foods or smell certain foods and think that it is super gross. For me, what my food aversions were, I guess, was there were certain things that did gross me out, but not very often. Sometimes the thought of things would gross me out. Like if Matt suggested, oh, do you want this? And I'd be like, no, like I'm not having that. But then sometimes I think I would want something, he would start making it and it would smell so good that I was like, okay, I want that. Can I have it, please? But my food aversions were more of like, I craved one thing, I wanted that one thing, and everything else sounded gross. I didn't want anything else. So that made it a little difficult. Like, I don't know how Matt dealt with it, but like, it was intense the first like couple weeks, especially when I was nauseous. I wanted like literally one thing and nothing else would do. I wouldn't eat anything else. So that's kind of how my food aversions and cravings have gone, is I really wanted one thing, and if I can't have that, I just don't want anything else. Everything else sounds gross. Like nothing sounded appetizing. So that's how my food aversions went. As far as like the smell of foods, I haven't really had a problem. Everything pretty much smells good to me for the most part. The only thing is super sweet smells have really grossed me out. He tried to light a candle one night, and it's like a Bath and Body Works. I think it's like the pumpkin cinnamon swirl. We have like so many candles still from last fall. And I told him, I was like, I'm sorry, I love you, but you have to turn that out. Like, turn it off because I cannot smell it any longer. I have been able to burn Bath & Body Works Autumn Candle just fine, and I do love the smell of that. But any kind of sweet, like super sweet smelling thing, especially like fake sweet, like super strongly scented fake like candles, like sweet smelling candles, I don't like that. It really grosses me out. The only food aversion that I really had was like towards, it wasn't even towards one item, it was towards a category. I did not want anything sweet in the first trimester. Everything sweet kind of grossed me out. At least in the first like half of the trimester, the sound of anything sweet, any type of like dessert or candy or anything, I did not want it. I wanted everything salty at the beginning. Now I'm starting to get more of like a, I wouldn't say it's like a sweet tooth, but now I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds kind of good. Let me have a bite of that. Oh, okay, so weird symptoms that no one talks about that like I didn't even know existed. So my nose being stuffed up, I didn't know that was a thing. I was reading, it's a thing. I read it before it even happened. No, I read it and I thought okay, whatever, my nose is stuffed up. I didn't even think anything of it. And then when I read that, when I was doing like my update for that week, like reading the symptoms for like that week, I was like, this is so weird. I did not know that your nose being stuffed up is a thing when you're pregnant, but it's a thing. Also, weird dreams. I had the weirdest, most vivid dreams at the beginning of this pregnancy. I still have them every once in a while, like maybe 1 or 2 a week, but at the beginning, it was every night I was having a weird dream. And I remember my sister had this symptom. Not everyone gets it though. So like sometimes I'm like, yeah, whatever, like, yeah, right. No, it's serious. Like I had so many weird dreams at the beginning of my pregnancy. That was really weird. I don't know what that's about, but that's been a symptom of mine. I still have that. For sure. Update on the baby. We don't know his gender yet. We're not going to know. My next appointment is actually like another 4 weeks out. It's at 18 weeks. So we're going to go in, and that's when the anatomy scan is going to happen. That's when we're going to do the anatomy scan. And that's when I'm going to find out the gender. And we're going to do a gender reveal party. So we're actually just going to put the gender in an envelope and then hand it over to Matt's brother. I had the first ultrasound a little bit later, well, a lot later than most people do, for multiple reasons, but baby is going really good, pretty much right on track as far as what he or she is measuring, like lengthwise and stuff. At first though, when we first got into the doctor's office, the ultrasound tech was like, you're way farther along than 13 weeks. She was like, this baby is just too big to be 13 weeks only. And you can, like, since we recorded the video, you can even hear her saying that in the background of the video, but she just kept talking about how further along the baby looked development wise, like, than what I was. Now, I will be honest, like, I've been tracking my like cycle for so many years that, I mean, it's pretty consistent. I do use the Clue app. This is like not sponsored by them or anything, but like I love that app, and I've been using that for so long. So like I know like I'm pretty consistent, and I knew there was no way I was pregnant before then. So I wanted to hear what she had to say, but at the same time too, I kind of knew, like I was like, there's no way I'm further along than that. Come to find out, when she started to actually measure the baby, the first time she measured, it said 13 weeks and like 2 days. She goes, oh, well, actually, the baby's measuring 13 weeks, but I don't believe it. So she measured like 6 times, no joke, because she didn't believe it. But I think the highest it got to was like, the baby measured at like 13 weeks and 4 days. So the baby is pretty on track. Either way, it's 13 weeks. So I am measuring on track. Whether it's a couple days difference isn't really a big deal. The main thing is that she said she could see more of the brain development and like more of like the stomach and just stuff like that usually she said you can't see at 13 weeks. I see it as a good thing. It's obviously not a bad thing. Like there's nothing to worry about. But that is what she was saying. Here I am, 14 weeks, and I feel a lot better. My nausea has pretty much gone away. Like I said, I'll still get spurts of it here and there. As far as my appetite now, at the beginning of my second trimester, I want to go ahead and like document this now. I have been super hungry. My appetite has been way up there, but I notice I can't eat like normal sized portions. Like my appetite isn't as big. So my appetite is super small, so like I can't eat as much at one time, but then I get hungry like a lot quicker. So like I'm getting hungry every 3 to 4 hours, whereas before I could probably honestly go like 7 hours between meals and it would be no problem. But now it's like I'm getting hungry every 4 hours, like I'm hungry, like I need to eat. So that's what's happening now as far as like appetite goes. And as far as like weight gain and all of that, I actually lost 10 pounds in the first trimester because of how little I was eating, because of how sick I felt. And now I haven't really gained any weight so far. So second trimester, I know that right now I'll probably start to gain a little bit, but I haven't gained anything so far. I think that's really all that I really have to say. Due date, I haven't even talked about that. The due date is February 13th, so the day before Valentine's Day. I don't know if the baby's going to be born on the day. Highly doubt it. That usually doesn't happen. It could be born on Valentine's Day, maybe a little bit after, maybe a little bit before. It just kind of depends. But as of right now, the due date is February 11th. That's when the baby is due. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be so pregnant at Christmas. I don't even know what to think. But I'm really excited, and I'm really excited to track this. I will be starting to vlog, and I probably will be putting that on a vlog channel because I want to just track this pregnancy and everything that I've been going through, and my emotions, and you know, just everything, so that I have those for memories for me and Matt and the baby. And yeah, I think that is it for the pregnancy update. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are excited to see my journey and come along with me through this scary but exciting process. So let me know if there's anything pregnancy related you guys want to see. Like, let me know in the comments below if there's like anything specifically that you guys want to see, or you guys are excited to hear or see and I'll try to film. And any suggestions of like things, newborn stuff that I absolutely need, please leave in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so excited. Like I said, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys want to see, suggestions, advice, anything. And if you guys are having a baby too, let me know. Send me pictures on Instagram or tag me or something. I'm really excited to see. And I think that's it. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I love you guys. Bye. So here are the ultrasound pictures. Sorry, let me let it focus. There's one. Is it focused? I can't even tell. There's one. And then we have this one. And a lot of people get confused by this one. Let me see if I can focus it. Oh, barely. So those right there are the little hands. There's the face. Kind of looks like an alien right now. And then here is the stomach. And then you can kind of see his little 2 feet right there. Kind of crisscrossed. His or her. Sorry, I keep saying he because I don't know what to call the baby. I don't want to call it an it. Feels weird. But there's that one. And then here's this ultrasound picture. So there's, I can see the little arm and everything. So there is that. There's my little baby.